ban phase is finished here. The 3-minute delay has started, so we're going to talk about picks and bans. I will have you begin this time, Requeen.
Alright, so for blue team, we have Vhagar, the tiny master of evil, mid. Yes, so pumped. Trundle top, Kate and Leona bot, and Kha'Zix in the jungle. For bans, we have Vi, Wukong, and Thresh, all good bans, no complaints there, and I love the team comp. For purple team, we have LeBlanc mid, Tryndamere top, Morgana and Jinx bot lane, and Shyvana in the jungle. For their bans, Heimerdinger,
Zed, and Yasuo. Yes, your mic did cut out.
oh, there. Heimerdinger is going to get nerfed. There are nerfs from on the PvE. Zed isn't a common ban anymore. I would have liked to see Leona banned instead of Zed, as Leona is just such a dominant force in these workshop games, and honestly at any rating.
I would have liked to see a Kha'Zix ban over Yasuo. Kha'Zix is a monster right now. Even after the nerfs, he sort of fell out of favor for all of about 2 seconds, and then people are right back on him.
So I'm really interested to see the matchup mid. Vhagar is famous for his lack of mobility, but that stun cage is just super strong.
Versus a LeBlanc, it is a painful matchup.
Talon and Quinn? Are you kidding me? Quinn and J4, get out of here. So yeah, as for synergy, I don't like Shyvana in the jungle on purple team. Her ganks are weak. She can't counter jungle quite as well as she could back in her heyday during, Season 3?
Yeah, she was played a little bit, and it was usually with exhaust.
But Tryndamere top, we've seen how effective Tryndamere top can be, so we'll see how it works out. Shyvana will be good for just helping, just be fat in the middle of the team fighting them. As for blue team, Caitlyn should be able to keep safe from, Shyvana, Jinx, and LeBlanc, and Trent. She should be able to keep safe. But Vhagar's stun cage is going to need to land.
Aatrox was talking about why is everyone saying Leona is strong. It's in the workshops. We've seen a lot of Leona picks, and she's generally very, very influential. You have to remember that these workshops are for people who are trying to improve their gameplay. They're lower-rated players. They are freely admitting that they have some issues with their gameplay, whether it be communication or game knowledge or mechanics or positioning. So Leona punishes a lot of that. If Leona is played to a reasonable level, she can be a very, very dominant laning force. And so that's why we're saying that in a lot of these workshops, we're surprised that she's not banned.
Also, the thing that's with Leona is that when the support utility changes were made, a lot of traditional supports were nerfed, as in Sona, Janna, Nami, etc. Leona, on the other hand, was buffed. So just from a sheer mathematical perspective, she's stronger than a lot of supports in terms of stats.
Would you say that it's mathemagical?
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my god. Okay, so we are drawing the giveaway. This is for a Steam game. If you have not entered already, the keyword is Steam Time. This is your very final chance to enter. I'm about to draw the prize.
Also, Janna is Leona's counter, and Janna has been nerfed into oblivion, so,
I'm seeing Janna start to make a slight comeback. I want them to buff her that tiny little bit so I can justify using her again, because she feels bad to play, but her actual influence on games is still pretty strong.
Her kit is just, you can give her 1 damage on every ability, and her kit will still be useful, because of how she's designed.
Yeah, she's just such a silly champion in terms of how much she can accomplish.
It feels like right now she's a lose lane, win game champion, and I'm really not a fan of that kind of design. I think you should be able to feel relevant all game long. Even if you're not at your peak of the power, you should still be relevant. For summoner spells, Snow Tibbers on Tryndamere is running Teleport Ignite. Do you have any thoughts on that? It seems very suboptimal to me.
It could be that he's just going to focus on split pushing rather than fighting. I've seen a lot of different builds on Tryndamere, the most common one currently being Ghost Ignite. I've also seen some Tryndameres where they run double offensive. It was usually last season when you could sort of augment your summoner skills. So he'd run Ignite Exhaust and just try and go in for a really, really early kill and snowball from there. I've seen so many different summoner skills picked up on Tryndamere over the last couple of years, And honestly, it really just boils down to your playstyle. So, honestly, teleport is going to boil down to how he uses it. If he uses it on his turret, it's going to have a much lower cooldown, and he can use it to try and survive through that Trundle, because Trundle is a very good laning opponent right now, where he steals AD, he steals tankiness, he can disengage, he has all sorts of buffs, and he has some sustain. He's just a pretty good pick. He's not top tier, but he's still very relevant. So I'm interested to see how this goes personally, but I can understand the theory behind wanting to take the teleport, so that if he does get a little bit ahead, you have options to get back into the game. In the meantime, I am starting the giveaway here. The winner is Uderfreaked.
Oh, I like Uderfreaked. He's around a lot, and he's a pretty cool guy.
Yes. The actual game 1 is Brutal Legend, so if you have it, I will re-roll.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Ninja, Steam is a digital distribution service for video games, and it's completely free to download. And Steam, you can buy video games for it instead of going to a brick-and-mortar store, and they have sales every year. And these sales are, like, ridiculous. Like, you can get AAA games from last year for, like, $5. So if you don't have Steam, you should totally download it.
Okay, so Uder, I am sending you the code to claim this prize, so hopefully you'll enjoy that game. It is actually pretty good. I played a little bit.
KitKat Sophia says, I want a new ADC, but I don't know who to get. Get Miss Fortune, because she's getting hella buffs on the PvE.
And she fills out that silk blouse.
She spills into the Great Hall with the same tenacity she spills into her silk blouse. Both taxed to container. Seriously, Riot? Hire me.
They are hiring. Yes, this is the 3rd game. After this, we're doing viewer games.
Well, it's more a matter that I have to stay in Canada, because Canada is amazing. I can't move to America.
We are pretty awesome over here. I also want to bring attention, because we do have an AFK here. Hopefully they will rejoin. If not, honestly, not much we can do about that. Resetting the game is usually a little bit too long of a process, but hopefully they'll be able to get back in. Regardless, I'm going to bring up what Felric was already mentioned. If you are playing in the workshops, it's not that we want to enforce the meta, but the point of these games is to help you improve your gameplay. So we want to discourage troll picks. I'm fine with you playing somewhat non-standard picks, but it doesn't really teach anyone anything if you're playing versus like an AP Ohm Wrecker, Split Push, Urgot running, Teleport, Promote, or like all this random crap. I understand the concept behind it, you want to have fun, but there's a time and place. So if you want to play something that's a little bit non-meta, you want to play Vigar support, you want to play Leona mid, you want to play whatever it is, that's fine, but please keep it to a reasonable level. The point of these games is educating people and helping them improve as players. So yeah, we'll just leave it to that, and I apologize if anyone feels sort of picked on by that. I know we have some people who like sort of niche or troll picks, but that's just the decision we have to go with.
No, Bows, I actually have good news for you. They don't have grave changes on the PvE, but they do have buffs in the works. They are making Graves an anti-tank and tanky bruiser sort of pick as an ADC. And he'll be weaker against other carries and mages, but his kit will be changed to compensate and make him stronger against bruisers.
Garen support. Yeah, Garen support isn't really a thing. I mean, you can play anything as support and win. You just play it as a kill lane. But it doesn't really teach your opponent much, and it doesn't teach your allies much. If your allies are agreeing to a sort of weird pick, then within reason, go for it. It's just that we've had a lot of players who in the past have picked very strange things every single game they've played with us. And they might do fine with it, but there's a limit.
And also, in some players' cases, it came across as sort of showing off. Like, I'm so good even as...
Very good trade coming in top lane. Tryndamere lands a couple early hits as well as crits. Ignites Trundle, doesn't quite take him down, but it's still a lot of damage. I'm surprised that Trundle has started boots, though. I would have expected him to go Doran's Shield or Cloth Armor. Again, Cloth Armor going to reduce all physical damage, and Doran's Shield going to be able to block damage and provide some decent regen. Although the regen was nerfed, the on-hit damage is still reduced.
LeBlanc taking a lot of damage from minions here. She's just standing and absorbing the damage instead of moving back, and also allowing Veigar to get some free auto attacks in. Meanwhile, on bot lane, we're seeing an engage. Leona goes in on Jinx. Can't quite get the kill, it looks like, but pops barrier.
At this point, both junglers are just finishing their second set of buffs. As a solo laner, especially a top laner in the current meta, you need to be aware of approximately how quickly junglers clear their camps, because you will usually be the first target of a gank. See, here we have Tryndamere shoving up. He is able to get in, but not able to land a whole lot of damage. The Ignite does go down as well as the final slow, so they are able to pick that up. The gank could have been coordinated just slightly better, mostly just waiting on the Trundle pillar, but overall, very, very good pickup. Tryndamere, just keeping in mind that Kha'Zix should be finishing his double buffs now, could have used that knowledge to get out of that gank, just by playing a little bit more passively as soon as you saw Trundle move up, and just trying to position a little bit in a more safe way.
A good rule of thumb is that a jungler is usually ready to gank with red buff around 3 minutes, unless they are intentionally doing a level 2 red buff gank to really shut you down. So if you're playing like Tryndamere top, be ready for a gank earlier, but most people would want to be ready for a gank at 3 minutes onwards.
For sure. And the famous one always used to be Riven, where if you are playing Riven, you know that you will be ganked at level, like 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, somewhere in there. So you would always have your jungler move up to counter gank. That was sort of the accepted wisdom. It's switched up a little bit now that her scaling is a little bit different, but that was just generally how things worked.
I just want to point something out that Shyvana did. Shyvana was holding the lane for Tryndamere, and she stood there and she took a lot of damage from minions while Tryndamere ran up. And, you might think, why is she taking all that unnecessary damage? She was freezing the lane so that tower wouldn't eat it and Tryndamere could get the last hits. And that's a really nice touch on her part, so props to Shyvana.
I like this Morgana's positioning much better than the one I think we had in the first game, where she's staying well behind Jinx, and as soon as Leona uses the E, just that black shield comes out, cancels out the engage, and they can go right back to farming. They know that their kill potential is somewhat mediocre unless they are able to land like a really easy Dark Binding, so they're playing the defensive game. They're waiting and seeing how the enemy positions, and then just using that to their advantage.
Right now, if they go even in lane, like if Jinx and Caitlyn come out of lane with the same amount of CS and gold and kills, then Jinx has won, because she outscales Caitlyn in the late game.
Tryndamere going for a really early roam mid. I don't really like this suggestion, because neither of them have enough CC to really make anything happen. I think he's realized that, he walks into lane, taunts once, and walks back top.
Meanwhile, I'm surprised how Veigar is able to farm completely, uncontested. He's not taking much to harass. I'm wondering if that will change post 6. I mean, you played a lot of LeBlanc.
Well, LeBlanc isn't playing aggressively here. She's standing way behind her minions and only moving up for last hits. On LeBlanc, generally speaking, obviously right now you don't want to go in because he just hit level 6 before you, but level 1 through level 4 or 5, you're generally trying to combo him anytime he goes for a CS. You want to Q him, auto-attack him, take a step back if he takes a step back, or if he tries to go in, you W onto him and immediately go back. You can actually use W while the Q's in air and it will still proc it. Your Q only really does the huge amount of damage that LeBlanc is famous for if you hit a second skill after. But at this stage, Veigar is actually winning this lane. And that just boils down to her playing really passively and not setting up these early combos.
What I suspect, and I don't have any proof either way or the other, I suspect LeBlanc doesn't know how Veigar works. She knows that he has this burst in a stun cage, and she's just like, I don't want to tangle with this dude.
We see Shyvana trying to come in here, and again, I don't like these ganks because there's no one who has CC. They're just going to go through a stun field, they're not going to get a flash, they're not getting any kills. I just don't agree with this.
So
there's no reason to gank mid.
LeBlanc blinked through the stun field. She dashed and through the stun field, and she got stunned. And I want to explain how the stun field works real fast. The stun field does not stun everyone it hits, but it stuns anyone who passes through it as well. So how it works is every 4 times a second, it checks if there are any targets within the walls of the cage, and if so, they are stunned. So you can't dash through it, you can't jump over it.
You can jump over it. It's that she has a
Okay.
dash.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can flash out of it. If
You
it's an
can't
instant
Kha'Zix
blink.
jump out of it, though, is what I was trying to say.
Sorry?
Like Kha'Zix's leap?
It's a
Kha'Zix.
dash.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, anything
you
that's
can't-
coded like a dash will still get hit. Anything that's coded as a blink will go through it. Blinks would be like Ezreal Arcane Shift. It would be Flash, and there's a couple others in the game, but most are
Kha'Zix.
coded as dash.
Yeah.
No, Kha'Zix is leaps are generally considered dashes. So Tristana is a
Right.
dash.
But people are deceived by the fact that you apparently go through the y-axis, but that's just the animation. You don't actually jump over a wind wall or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you go through it. You don't go over it.
So here we see a purple pink ward. Kha'Zix is coming around to try to contest Shyvana. Shyvana knows he's there. LeBlanc knows he's there. LeBlanc is coming up, and I'm really loving this. LeBlanc and Shyvana are ready. Tryndamere comes around, and it's a 3 versus 1. They collapse on Kha'Zix. Trundle's coming around, drops the pillar, but it's too late.
That was a very nice chain coming out from the LeBlanc.
Excellent
Talon E, that's
job.
another one.
Excellent job to purple team there. They dropped a ward. They had the map awareness. They saw Kha'Zix was coming up. They moved to help their jungler, and then they collapsed all as a team on him. Just fantastic job. We don't see that enough, and I'm really impressed to see it.
A very good kill going over onto Trundle. He is going to be taken down, though. Flash comes out from Shyvana, double buffs on her. Red buff ticking, and that's a kill.
So now this is a very close game so far. Only 100 gold difference, 2 kills on both sides. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. Someone also mentioned Kassadin jump. Yeah, Kassadin's been permabanned for a year now, so I just don't consider him a natural champion.
Who's Kassadin? Is he
I know,
the new
I don't know.
champion? I don't know. So Ace in the Hole goes out on Jinx. Jinx survives thanks to popping barrier. She's going back. Morgana is holding the tower alone. And Morgana is very good at holding the tower thanks to Tormented Soil. So they should be fine. They won't take the tower, I don't think.
It seems unlikely that they would. If they do try and dive, Morgana does have her ult and ignite ready, so she would be able to black shield herself, throw the binding down, throw the ult down, the ignite down, and that would be a very unwise turret dive.
So right now, Kha'Zix is really behind. Kha'Zix is good at ganking, and he's good at like murdering people who are alone in the jungle. He's not necessarily good at just farming, and so Shyvana's getting a huge lead on him, because that's what Shyvana does. She farms and gets fat. So Kha'Zix needs to take some action and get some kills to catch up.
we're
Veigar
seeing-
combo.
It's the exact same thing that we're seeing before, where LeBlanc just isn't really using her combo as she should. And it's very difficult to explain how she could play different. It's just how she's positioning, how aggressive she's playing. She's just sort of standing there and farming, and then as soon as Veigar tries to land a combo, she panics, uses all of her skills, and then dies. Or in this case, gets sent back.
She's playing like a Vel'Koz as opposed to an assassin, I feel like.
You see bot lane very shoved up. Kha'Zix trying to go in behind. So this engage is really going to boil down to how well Leona is able to lead the engage. Kha'Zix standing on a ward, so they're just going to back out. As a jungler, I would let your team know where you are and what you're doing well in advance, so that Leona could have immediately done that engage, and he would not have had to stay on that ward.
Something I'll do is I'll say, I want to come bot. Are there any wards? And then they'll tell me, they'll say, yes, ward and river, and I can plan accordingly. If they don't know, then, you know, I don't sit in a bush for 10 seconds, because that's valuable time.
The ignite coming out from LeBlanc, I'm not quite sure why that was used. There wasn't any real kill potential there. She only has her Fiendish Codex done and double Dorans. So she has some decent damage, but she's not going to be able to one-shot Kha'Zix.
Morgana goes down. Morgana goes down to Caitlyn's Piltover Peacemaker. Tryndamere is coming around. Tryndamere just putting down damage. Jinx following up with the Zap and her minigun. She gets caught in a Yordle snap trap. Leona comes in and just Caitlyn picks up the kill with some auto attacks and a headshot. Tryndamere is just running away. He is low. He can't engage. And blue team gets a massive advantage out of that. Gain 1,000 gold lead from being pretty much dead even.
It was a very good decision there. As an AD carry, you constantly want to be pumping out damage if at all possible. If you're not going to just be collapsed on and die from dealing damage, you should be poking away, even if you're not going to get the kill, because it discourages the enemy team. It makes them say, oh crap, I'm being focused. Should I switch targets? Should I retreat? Am I going to die? And in cases like this, it set up that re-engage from Leona and Caitlyn. If no one hit the trap, well, nothing really comes from it. But you're opening up options for yourself.
Hey Pro, hit tab. You don't have the box with all the items and scores at the bottom of your screen.
I know, I wasn't showing it.
Oh, okay, someone was asking.
Yeah, I'll show builds again. At this point, Caitlyn is about double Jinx's farm. She's at 105 versus 51. No, sorry, 49. I'm looking at LeBlanc. 49 on Jinx. So she's up a Bloodthirster and some attack speed. So that's going to set her up for really, really easy kills. Bloodthirster versus no Bloodthirster is a huge sustain advantage, so you're going to win pretty much every trade, as well as a kill potential advantage, because obviously your skills are going to do a lot more damage. In terms of the supports... Am I reading that right? Okay. It doesn't show levels, that's CS. So, sorry, Leona is about a level ahead. That's going to equalize as she's not quite in lane, but having that level advantage, you can use it to try and set up extra kill potential, extra engages.
Nobows and I were discussing Caitlyn in chat earlier, and we agreed Caitlyn, at all stages of the game, is relevant because of her range and her auto-attack damage. And if you understand how to position on Kate, then you're pretty much relevant all game long, despite your Piltover Peacemaker damage falling off and R damage and such. So this Caitlyn, who understands how to position and how to use her net and traps, will probably prove to be quite a threat.
Someone in chat was saying 105 farm in 13 minutes. That's not possible. And no, it is. That's relatively perfect CS. She's only missed a few.
The ideal, perfect, a robot doing at CS is 110 minutes. Obviously, if you're trading, roaming, that's going to drop. But yes, 115 in 14 minutes is totally possible. And also quite impressive. So props to Stealth God for that.
Unfortunately, a lot of that boils down to Morgana having to play defensively. That's not anything saying oh my god, you're so bad or anything. It's that she has to play defensive versus Leona. She has to wait to see who Leona engages onto so that she can black shield the correct target. If she wastes all of her peel skills, then it leaves your team open to free death, essentially. So because of that lack of zoning potential, Caitlyn's just able to free farm. She doesn't have to deal with any harass, really.
And Leona can get in Jinx's face, and Jinx has limited options for dealing with the Leona with her W up. She has so much free tankiness and defensive stats that she can just kind of bully them off all by herself.
Now, we haven't been able to focus on it too much, as they do take away Dragon on blue team. Top lane, Tryndamere is about equal in farm. That ult was really early. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Tryndamere ulted and then ran at Trundle. He still had about half of his health, so Trundle just sort of said, oh, okay, you've already used your ult. So he just bit his face and he died. So he's now 4-1-0. They're about equal in farm. He's trying to build up a little bit of an advantage, but he's going to take away a tower as well. Those kills are going to set him up for huge success now. I'm assuming he's going to finish up his Blade of the Ruin King in the semi-near future. Or at least the Cutlass portion of it, and that's going to make his kill potential even higher.
Trundle, people aren't afraid of Trundle in the same way that they are afraid of a Vayne or a Tryndamere, because his skills are less flashy. You don't get the ching of a triple bolt, that satisfying sound effect. You don't have a Tryndamere spinning at you and three-shotting you. That being said, Trundle can be every bit as lethal. So purple team should be concerned about that 4-1 Trundle. Meanwhile,
very nice Zenith Blade.
Yes, and this is why I'm surprised you don't see Leona banned more often. She is just such a dominant force in bot lane, especially at lower divisions.
Someone talking about Tryndamere's build. Yeah, he has no lifesteal, not ideal. Generally speaking, you want the early Cutlass into the Blade of the Ruin King, and then usually he'll have a static Shiv for increased pushing potential. I don't know what he's building into, honestly. He has a Brutalizer, which doesn't make sense. And he has a Pickaxe, which I'm assuming would be going for Last Whisper or Hydra.
Infinity Edge, maybe?
Rushing Infinity Edge, though, doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It's a very poor build. I don't agree with pretty much anything on it.
Oh, here comes Trundle. Trundle is surrounded by 3 people. LeBlanc putting down some initial damage. Trundle flashes to safety. And then my game crashed.
Oh, fun.
I don't know if you got away or not. I'm left in suspense.
He got away.
Oh,
He's
thank
also
God.
finished his Randuins. I'm fine with the Randuins, especially when you are versus a Tryndamere and Shyvana, so there's a lot of auto attacks coming in. But I would have finished up at least the Cutlass first. Vygar is landing a lot of good combos here, and unfortunately this just boils down to more mispositioning coming in from LeBlanc. She's not getting any Roam-on, she's not getting any farm, and so at this point she has been essentially completely shut down. She doesn't really have a way back into the game at this stage. And we see a lot of people complaining about LeBlanc being, oh my god, she's so OP. But this is exactly how you handle it. You don't let her farm, you don't let her get kills, and then you punish it through your own scaling.
So you could say LeBlanc is being a poor role model? Yeah, I get it. It's like role model.
I'm not responding to that. So Tryndamere just getting bullied out constantly top lane. I would like to see this CS advantage building up even higher. Let me see, the Tryndamere ult coming out, traded for the... Oh my lord. Okay. I don't know why Tryndamere is trying to fight. It makes no sense. When you're this far behind, you need to get what advantages you can. Go take farm elsewhere. Go build accordingly to how the lane is going.
Right, a lot of people feel very married to their lane. They will stay in their lane come hell or high water. And a lot of the time, that doesn't work out for you. If you're dying, if you're constantly falling behind in farm, if you can't do anything, why would you stay in lane and continue to get stomped on?
So we had a very even game, and it's very quickly gone very one-sided. That boils down to both the bot and top lane advantages. Mid lane obviously has a very large gold advantage and has done a good job, but in terms of map pressure, Trundle at this point is going to become a monster. He's going to be going up top lane. He's going to be pulling 2 or 3 people there, and so the rest of blue team needs to play accordingly. They need to get some wards into the top side of the purple team jungle, and they need to be collapsing. They need to be taking objectives. They need to be abusing their strengths. And at this stage of the game, that boils down to catching people out and sieging. No one can really engage onto you when you have the Vygar stun field.
So
As you saw there, he
was
can
up
one-shot
top.
anyone.
Tryndamere was killing little golems, and Trundle came and saw him, and Trundle dropped a pillar. And Tryndamere spun away, got to safety, and then he turned around and he was like, no, I really want those golems. And he started auto-attacking them while Trundle killed him, and I'm not sure of the thought process there. But golems are what, 150 gold max?
If that, yeah.
So I'm not sure what Tryndamere's priority was there.
Yeah, and we did say that he needs to find a way to get farmed. But like at this stage, he's suiciding. There's no chance for him to get these kills. He might be able he's gonna be able to retreat. Good swap of the aggro there. Oh, we've already commented all over Tryndamere's build. I don't agree with anything he's built.
Tryndamere is cussing a little on chat. I'm not sure how angry he is and how much he's just kidding around. But guys, these are constructive games. Please don't bring solo queue chat into it.
Yeah, you're here because you want to improve your gameplay. So if you're going to get all upset because you lost, well, the point of you being here is you saying, hey, I am quote-unquote bad at this game, and I want to get better.
Purple team coming down. We have LeBlanc, Shyvana, and more coming in on Leona. Gets the bind off. Looks like Leona is going to go down. Kate is just dropping damage the entire time, but she can't bring anyone quite low enough.
A very nice flash, actually. Make sure that the silence mark does not get detonated. Vygar coming in behind should be able to clean this up. Only catches Morgana, but should still be a kill.
I want a Janitor Vagar skin now. With a little mop.
Oh, well, just buy the curling Vygar. It has a mop.
Oh my god, amazing.
It has a broomstick.
Vagar has the best skins in the game, bar none.
They are pretty adorable, I'll give them that. But Creator Victor.
Dude, Vagar Greybeard would drop a stun cage and go, you shall not pass in all chat.
It's true. I'm wrong.
As always, but it's okay. I forgive you.
Avarice is meh on Tryndamere. The reason it's sometimes built is when you're super far ahead, you want that early static shiv. But just as a generic Tryndamere item, it's kind of mediocre. So at this point, again, I want to see blue team leveraging their advantage and turning it into an ended game.
Right, and purple team needs more vision. They do have a couple of wards in their jungle. I'd like to see them covering a dragon and baron, though.
Yeah, their ward coverage isn't terrible. I would like to see more aggressive wards placed by blue team so that he can just sort of go top constantly with his Trundle. And then you can see people going up towards him. He can pull out a little bit, and then in the meantime, they should be able to get, like, bot tower. No one's protecting it right now. They could easily send Caitlyn to secure that. Caitlyn's shown that her mechanics are pretty good, and they have wards all over this, I don't even know what you call this. I guess it's technically bot side purple jungle. I want to see them taking away this tower, and I want to see them splitting elsewhere. At this point, the purple team has 3 top lane. So there's no one to defend this tower. That's a great pickup for them, and they could even collapse onto this LeBlanc, because she did walk over some wards.
Right,
In the meantime, they're doing the exact same thing mid lane. And this is how you force ends to games. This is how you snowball. You use your numbers advantages. You say, hey, they're all top lane. Take mid and bot turret. Then you cycle. There's a blue buff up right now. They could steal that away.
There's a metaphor, death by 1,000 cuts, or death by 1,000 stinging bees, and that's ultimately a better way to close out games than the one decisive team fight. You just push someone's tower, then you retreat, then you come back and push it back, you cycle top, you push that a little, and so on.
Oh.
Chipping away at towers, picking up kills.
There's an unfortunate Zenith Blade. They are going to get this Tryndamere, though. He's not going to have time to ult there. I think it was down. Yeah, no, his ult was up. He just didn't use it.
I am starting to suspect that Tryndamere is just so frustrated, he's basically just like, I want this game to end.
It certainly appears that way, and that's not how you should be playing these workshops. I don't want to pick on him too much, but yeah, we've said pretty much everything we can about him.
I have an anti-anxiety and anger guide that covers how to deal when you're really frustrated and upset in a game. Is it guide or guides?
I'm pretty sure it's guide. As Caitlyn's positioning has been on point.
So you can look at a guide for dealing with stress, anxiety, and just frustrating solo queue scenarios, and that's a pretty comprehensive guide on how to do so.
Scumbag Kha'Zix denied the pentakill. Yeah, I think we're going to be graduating Skyros after this.
No, don't graduate him. Then I have to do art.
I'm not sure about Stealth God. Like, he's been in a couple workshops, and I seem to remember him having very, very good AD carry mechanics, and he's demonstrated that thoroughly this game. I think it might be time to graduate him as well.
No, don't graduate him too. I want to be lazy.
Being lazy is awesome.
I know, right? So I'm not sure if Kaz is disconnected there, or...
It was very odd. He just sort of stopped. Graduate basically means that these players have demonstrated that they already know what they're doing. There's not too much specific advice we can give them anymore. So we quote-unquote graduate with them, which means they're not able to enter future workshops, but they're still welcome to join viewer games. We still enjoy having them around the stream. It's just that they sort of make the games a little bit one-sided, and it makes matchmaking very difficult.
And we will create a lovely, I will create a lovely piece of art for you of a champion of your choice accepting an award.
She really won't, because she's too lazy to draw them.
Excuse me, I have done like 3 already, or like 4, gosh. Why don't you learn to draw? God.
Never. I shall draw nothing.
Yeah, if you're on tilt, Lexilgraves, if you're slumped, if you're just losing, I had the exact same thing. Stop playing ranked. Do a Dominion game, play a different video game, pick up another champion. Shake things up, take a break, stop ramming your head into the wall. Sometimes you just are on a slump, and the best thing to do is just shake it up.
My favorite thing to do is, I know this sounds so silly, I just examine my own gameplay. And that's the advice I give to everything, and I know that, and I apologize. But honestly, if I am going on tilt and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't win any games, I can't do anything, I just say, wait, what can I do better? And then I just go practice one specific element of my gameplay for a few games. I go play a new champion, or I say, my map awareness has been shit, I'm not roaming. So I'll literally just pick a champion that all I do is roam for like 3 games, and I just treat them super casual. I don't care about the outcome. I'll do like a normal or a viewer game or something. And I treat that as a little bit more constructive practice.
It's true. I was like, Pro, can you help me with my financial investments? And he was like, just examine your own gameplay. And I was like, what?
Exactly, and now you're rich.
It's true. I learned how to last hit in real life.
Please don't last hit people in real life.
I'm pretty sure that's like a one-on-one gank in the Walmart parking lot.
It definitely is. And those people cannot run quickly, so it's a pretty easy gank.
Yeah, you don't get much LP for taking out someone in a parking lot at Walmart.
It's true. Only
They're
a restraining order.
They're like 200 elo. Yeah, that's the tribunal. The blue team pushing up, taking an inhibitor. Now it looks like they're retreating. Kha'Zix wants to do Baron. Will the rest of the team join him? Trundle, I don't like his decision to just retreat in the middle of the base. Like, what are you doing?
I think the decision is that the rest of blue team would go take Baron, and he would function as a distraction, so no one goes to check Baron in the meantime.
That's not a bad idea when you put it like that.
I'm hoping that was communicated and that was his decision. If so, then that was a good play.
Someone is saying Home Depot is the best way to gank someone and get LP. That makes sense. They come out with like a shovel.
Anything I could say about Home Depot would make me sound homophobic, but it's so accurate. It's just lesbians.
More like Homo Depot?
No. Brian was trying to buy a drill because he was setting something up, and like all these big biker lesbians came over and was like, what are you doing? And it's like, this isn't the one you want. This is the model you need. Go over to this section. I was just like, oh god, please stop. I just want to hang a light or something.
Well, it sounds like they were pretty helpful. I
Oh,
mean,
they were. But he was very intimidated. Okay, so Trundle does get taken down, but at this point I want to see blue team just sort of end the game.
They did get Baron, so Trundle did make a worthy sacrifice.
The RP giveaway already happened. It was at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
It's every single Sunday, so you can come back next week to try your luck again.
And again on Tuesday because we have our super bonus stream for April Fools.
Oh man, super bonus stream. That sounds exciting.
It's super bonus fun time stream.
Hell yes. Alright, so purple team is pushing back the minion wave on top. Blue team is really spread out. You have Caitlyn farming their jungle, Vagar's coming up mid, Kha'Zix took red buff and is now retreating, Leona's just leaving the base now. I would like to see
they
them
have
grouped.
their Baron. I want them to just group up and end the game. Alright, so apparently the game has ended, so thank you to all of our participants. We're going to finish the last little bit of spectating here, see if there's any last bit of advice we can get. At this point, though, it just seems as though it's just a matter of them deciding to end the game.
Blue team has slain the dragon.
God, the spectating client keeps crashing. It's kind of infuriating. There we
Late
go.
game
back in.
Vigar is so rude.
God, late game Vigar. I saw this amazing bronze strategy. This person was playing Vagar. So they were against a brand. And their strategy was to go 0-50-0. And I'm not even exaggerating, they just ran down mid and died. And then Brand has 1,000 AP. So Vagar just started one-shotting him with his ult. And it was like the ultimate bronze strategy. It was incredible.
So, unfortunately, Tryndamere did die to minions there. Again, we've already discussed his attitude and his gameplay this game. We'll just leave it at that. Shyvana trying to hold the turret without her team ends up being taken down. Almost is able to escape, but the Ace in the hole does connect at the last moment. Q farm Vigar. Can we actually check that in the spectator client? 96. So not that much. Like, it's enough. Alright, that is the end of the game.
Okay, do you want to go over item builds?
Sure. Unfortunately, the game was a little bit one-sided. We commented on a lot of the decision-making processes that could have helped pull that through, but we're just gonna... Oh, I'm gonna change this here. Okay, so if you want to join into our viewer games, make sure you are in the Pro for Never chat room in the League client. That's where we handle all of our invites for these sort of games. We're just going to do a quick rundown of the item builds. Caitlyn build, very, very standard. Nothing really out of the ordinary there. Trundle, again, pretty normal. We did comment that he rushed a lot of early defensive items, which I'm assuming was to continue his sort of dominance versus that Trainer Mirror, but I would have liked to see a Cutlass finish before the Randuins or any of the components for Randuins, only because the extra slow potential would help him have more kill potential and escape potential for baiting people up towards top lane so that his team could get more advantages. In the long run, though, it worked out for him, and his overall build was fine. I just would have liked to see it maybe in a slightly different order. Veigar, pretty standard, nothing out of the ordinary. I would comment, though, that if there was any magic resist on the enemy team, I would have liked to see a Void Staff popped in there a little earlier. But, again, that's what you build on Veigar, so perfectly fine. Same with Kha'Zix, very, very offensive focused. We see a lot of... I've seen some Hydra Kha'Zixes, where they want like the auto attack reset and they want the quicker jungle clear. But you can pretty much build anything on Kha'Zix, and if you're playing him well, he's going to be perfectly fine. Leona... I've mentioned before, I really like Talisman of Ascension swap for Leona, just because of the CDR is so powerful in these sort of games. Long term, though, her build is really normal. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Jinx, we had issues with her farming and her positioning, but a lot of that boiled down to just how the lane had to go. When you have a Morgana who has to play defensively, and you have the Leona Caitlyn constantly in your face, it makes CSing very difficult. The direction she went with her build is fine, though. Tryndamere, we had a lot of complaints. I don't see why you would build a Hydra on him when you could build Blade of the Run King for increased attack speed and dueling potential. I would have liked to see that built. The Brutalizer had no place. I don't like it on him. And he went a lot on tilt. He had a lot of issues there. So hopefully he will sort of be able to watch these back once we upload them to YouTube, and he'll get some feedback from that and hopefully take that to heart. LeBlanc, we had a lot of issues with how she was farming and positioning in lane. She should have been able to play a lot more aggressively the pre-6 laning phase, but I think it just boiled down to, as Requiem said, just not quite understanding how Veigar worked and his damage potential. I would have liked to see her playing more aggressively. Also, someone mentioned no Chalice on her. Chalice is pretty core on her right now because she needs to be able to wave clear very quickly. Shyvana, normal build, but Shyvana jungle has a lot of issues. She just doesn't have that gank potential that you might want in a jungler. And Morgana, I would have liked to see the Hourglass finish, but overall, really standard setup on her. Merc Treads is situational, but when you're versus a Veigar, that's a lot of CC that you want to sort of deal with. So I understand why she went the way she did. Good job to everyone involved, and thank you for everyone who participated in our workshops today, and to all of our donators who make all of our giveaways possible. I really do appreciate having all